The modern habit of doing ceremonial things unceremoniously is no proof of humility. Rather, it proves the offender's inability to forget himself in the right and his readiness to spoil for everyone else the proper pleasure of ritual. I'll give you a couple of examples. In the Roman Missal, it's clearly laid out that whenever the divine names are said together, whenever Jesus' name is mentioned, the name of Mary is mentioned, or the saint of the day in whose honor the Mass is being said, all those together, priests, deacon, ministers, and lay faithful, are to bow their head. Now, many of you do not do this. My guess is that this is not an attitude of disobedience. It means that you're quite unaware of the requirements at all. And so we have kind of two things going. The first, in this example, is an ignorance of what it is that we're supposed to be doing. I aim to correct that. Over the next couple weeks, I'm going to walk through some of the things in the Mass and explain the attendant ceremonies and how to properly carry them out, so that we can begin to be on the same page of at least knowing what the steps of the liturgical dance are. And once we practice them and get them down, we'll actually be able to dance. A second example, the Roman Missal says this: "Then facing the people and extending his hands, the priest greets the people using one of the formulas indicated." The priest extends and joins his hands when greeting the people. The traditional and common greeting is, "The Lord be with you." The people reply, "And with your spirit." Notice what it does not tell the people to do. It mentions nothing about a gesture. And yet very, very many of you attempt to make the same gesture, right? I'll point out that you guys do it wrong. You don't know what the gesture actually is. So a priest who's properly making the gesture, with palms facing each other, extends his palms to about the width and the height of his shoulders and closes them again. Many of you do this. That is not a Roman gesture. We do it again at the beginning of the Eucharistic prayer, at the preface, when I say, "The Lord be with you," lift up your hearts. And very many of you lift up your hands. I did not say lift up your hands. I said lift up your hearts. And yet you've become in the habit of doing these things without knowing how to do them or when to do them. The deacon, when he proclaims the gospel, does not extend his hands when he says, "The Lord be with you." But you aren't watching because many of you make that gesture to him. Even a priest, when he proclaims the gospel, does not make that gesture when he says, "The Lord be with you," if he's doing it correctly. It has become a custom in many places to mimic the gesture of the priest during the response of the people. However, as I've already told you, there is no rubric directing the people to make such a gesture, nor is it a traditional custom of the Roman Rite, but it is a modern innovation inserted without approval of either the Conference of Bishops or of the Holy See. The Pontifical Council for the Laity published an instruction in 1997 entitled "On Certain Questions Regarding the Collaboration of the Non-Ordained Faithful in the Sacred Ministry of Priest." In the section entitled "Practical Provisions," Article 6, Paragraph 2, this is what it teaches. To promote the proper identity of various roles in this area, those abuses which are contrary to the provisions of Canon 907 are to be eradicated. In Eucharistic celebrations, deacons and non-ordained members of the faithful may not pronounce prayers, especially the Eucharistic prayer with its concluding doxology, or any other parts of the liturgy reserved to the celebrant priest. Neither may deacons or non-ordained members of the faithful use gestures or actions which are proper to the same priest celebrant. It is a grave abuse for any member of the non-ordained faithful to quasi-preside at the Mass, while leaving only that minimal participation to the priest which is necessary to secure validity.